Yeah, guys, the plan is to do the 250 account challenge to start it again at the beginning of the month. So just want to go ahead and get started, guys. Give everyone a few minutes to get in. Welcome to Pre-Market Live, guys. The marijuana stocks are moving big time this morning. Akerna Group is now up 40% in pre-market. Just hit 425. A big breakout here on Kern. Really nice mover. Tilray up in the high 13s. I think we did test the $14 level. Yeah, 1377. So this is kind of where I want to start. Again, we did, I know many did, and myself included, swung Tilray calls rather heavily over the weekend. These should be up really nicely this morning, guys. My plan is to lock some off the open, and then hopefully my target here is 1436. If we come out on the daily, guys, I think it's, a pretty logical first target is this 1436 level. We do have a lot of resistance in that range. If we can break that level, I start looking towards the $17 mark as a target. So my plan off open, guys, is to gauge the strength off of VWAP. As long as we hold VWAP in that $13 level, ideally, I think we should retest pre-market highs at 1377. Over that level, I'm going to look for the $14 test, which is where I'll be looking to lock some in on the $17 calls, as well as looking to, like I said, lock about, at least half to 2/3 of my position. Reason being, right, is I really like to, make sure I lock gains on those and then possibly roll those calls into the December expiration and go forward from there. If the echo's bad, I apologize, guys. This house is pretty big, and for some reason, my AirPods didn't want to connect to OBS this morning, so my focus setup off open is mainly going to be focusing on the Tilray trade. I'm not going to try to get long on weed names off of open. I want to see how they react first. I think there could be a flush, hence why I would like to take at least half of my position off of Tilray off the open. One name that I will be watching as a secondary focus setup off of the open, right, is going to be Kern now. This momentum is very, very strong here, guys. If we look at the daily chart, there is a lot of resistance in the $4 range, right? But we have tentatively cleared that for the time being. If we get over, the 420 mark, right, the 410 mark, I think this could probably see 5. It's up a good bit to be chasing that high, so I'd like to, see a little pullback here, possibly to the $4 level, or ideally the 379 level, which is where we had some prior resistance. I'd like to see that turn into support. Again, the options trade a little bit weird here, so not like a primary focus for me. Roblox is going to be another name that I am looking at very, very closely, guys. This morning in pre-market, we did break the 110 all-time high. I would like to see this regain this level. We bounced off the level that I mentioned on the pre-market plan, which was the 108.04 level. That is, primarily the range that I was looking to buy calls in. So if we flush down to 108, I will look to be a buyer and take a starter on the 120 weekly calls. If we come back up and reject this 110, 111 level, I'll ditch the starter and take my gains, right? But primarily going to be a focus for me today is Roblox, just because I felt like it's been trading the smoothest and it'll give the best opportunity. The last name that I am going to be watching, or last two names that I'm going to be watching relatively close, is going to be GGPI. I mentioned this is the Pulsar SPAC. So far, it's held this $14 level, which is key. This was the breakout level, as we can see. If we zoom out a bit, right, we broke out over this level. Ideally, it needs to hold 14. Bulls want to see 1450 hold. And then see a move back to highs, which was 16 this morning. As far as, from a long side standpoint, I'm not chasing in this range, right? I don't want to be a buyer in the middle, right? I want to wait for strong hourly support to come into play here, right? And if we come out on the hourly, I really, really would like, if I'm going to get long on this, from the 13.92 range to $14. Pre-market lows, I believe, 14.22. So would like to focus on that range. This does seem like it has a lot of potential as far as market cap, but again, remember it's up, 45% in the last 3 days. So you have to be cautious long side. It's not, a let it work. It's more of like a quick, scalp, right? Unless the market gets absolutely nuts, which we shall see. The other name is Lucid, obviously. Earnings are today. This is making a comeback from pre-market lows, guys. Of course, being named Motor Trend Car of the Year. Earnings are after hours for me. If this flushes into the earnings call, I'm going to be probably looking to buy dips on calls for probably not this week, but next week, just because earnings have a big, implied move. But we'll see. This might be a, leave it until tomorrow and then buy the opening flush. But for me, this is a long setup. I don't think that, nobody's expecting Lucid to have good earnings. So therefore, I don't think there's going to be a mass sell off if, they report what we think they're going to report, right? The news has just been so bullish here the past, what, you know, 2 weeks, right? 2 to 3 weeks, that it's just very hard to see a true bear case here, right? So, those are going to be my primary focuses for today, guys. I don't really, have any major setups that I'm like in love with. Otherwise, like I mentioned, guys, Tilray is going to be the big focus for me off open, is taking gains on that position. Um, not because I don't think it can go more, but this is a trade I took over the weekend. I'd like to start the week off on a good note and keep that positive traction and take that green trade to start the week, and then reevaluate, right? When things gap up over on Mondays like this, I'm not huge on being a big buyer off open on Mondays unless there's something strong news wise that I want to play. So for me, like I mentioned, the main focus is going to be taking gains on Tilray. A few other names to watch if the weed names do continue to be hot is obviously SNDL, seeing a bit of a pullback off that 94 level. The $1 level is going to be huge here, guys, right? So we've projected the 94 level now twice. So you could, kind of see that on the hourly, right, time frame is, maybe there's like a little double top-ish kind of coming in. But for me, I still think this gaps up way over one this week. So I'm going to hold the majority of the common shares I have. Never a bad idea to trim some off the top. This is already 7-8% trade for us. And I like to free up some capital and obviously lock some in just to protect my downside, right? And we talk about that all the time, guys, but protecting your downside is the most important thing, right? Which is why I tweeted that this morning about the whole small account thing. Is it's never a bad idea to lock stuff in and then hold a chunk for the bigger move that you want to see, right? So a couple other names to keep your eye on as far as the MJ sympathies, right? So we have ACB is a big one. Touch that 9 level and pulling back. MSOS is the ETF. Guys, the 33.35 break is huge, right? So we did break it briefly in pre-market, right? 33.68. The volume on this is so low though, guys. We need to see this happen intraday. If we see this happen intraday, I could see 50s. I would look towards the December $50 calls. I'm definitely going to be watching this for a move over 33.68. I do think we are going to see some sell pressure there. This would be a major breakout as far as cannabis names go. So really, really important to watch this. This is going to be kind of like one of my more pertinent focuses today, because I want to see how the sector as a whole is performing. So again, 33.68 is the key break. Under that 32.50 level, it gets a little dicey. That kind of starts to present a short trade setup. But bulls obviously want to hold the 32.50 level again this week, guys. Obviously, I am holding some long bias on the marijuana names, but just like we saw with Blink and all these other names last week, and I talked about this on the Sunday scan, right? But we tend to see like at least one really decent flush, which is, why it's not a bad idea to lock some off open and then, reevaluate. You can always add it back, especially in this market. no one trade is gonna, get you the Lambo and the house or whatever, right? So always have a, compounding mindset is super important for me. That's something I try to focus on, and everyone has their struggles with it, but it's definitely pertinent to the longer term success. So for me, this MSOS is going to be a focus over CGC for me. So obviously not the same thing, but CGC just has moved so weird. I don't know. I think that psychologically people like Tilray, SNDL, right? Those names. IGC is another one to watch. This is going to be just more like staying familiar type of deal. IGC, Hexo. Hexo is interesting to me because of the upside potential, right? So since this thing did this reverse split, they have a partnership with Budweiser, I believe. I think these guys are, THC sector-ish, right? It doesn't really matter what they do. It's kind of just the chart and how people are going to trade it. This one tends to really get going once the marijuana names get a lot of push, right? So the 20 or the 230 level is going to be big just because that was a major support level in the past, pre-split. And again, is a major support level here recently as well. And you can see how the price action has been just nonstop flush downwards since. So regaining that 230 level, if it does, there's a huge gap to the 350 level. So really want to stay familiar with this one. I really like the upside potential, but this is a name where the weed name need to be extremely strong, and then this will be one that people flock to as like a you know third or fourth sympathy from the main runner, right? So not a bad idea to get some starters on calls. They're insanely cheap, but I'm definitely going to be watching this one super closely for an entry because I do think the chart is like almost dead bottom. So just to recap quickly, I do want to add one more thing. One name I will watch off open, right, is going to be Blink. Um, if this can get, they had the $50 price target this morning. If this can get over, the 41, 45 level, I like the $50 calls weekly. It would be a smaller position, right? But there's a lot of room up. These things tend to move on the HC Wainwright price targets. So keep it on watch. Again, shiny objects interim today will be the weed names. Not saying they can't run more. I think they will. But I think that, there will be a fantastic opportunity in something like Blink, which is, tends to run with the sector. Keep an eye on FCEL as well. But just to recap my plan off open, guys, I'm going to be focusing on taking some profits on my Tilray trade from over the weekend. Like I said, I want to start the week off on a positive note. Held VWAP here on the 5-minute, so I'll be watching the 1-minute off open. I would think we'll probably retest this 1377 level. Nice spot to lock some in. If we get over 1377, 1430 is next. And then if we get over that, which is going to be a major resistance, 17 plus. Roblox, I'm watching a move to 108 for ads. Stop would be extremely tight below that though. 107.50 would be my stop. And then those are going to be pretty much my two main focuses off the open, right? So no news that I'm eager to play off the open. It's Monday. I don't like to go heavy and play the open off on Mondays. I like to kind of wait and see how things are going to go, especially with how the market's been lately, right? It's changes from week to week, and I think that we are trending more towards on Mondays. It's a wait and see type of market. So what date on Hexo calls? I haven't looked at the expirations close enough to tell you what position I want to take on Hexo. When I do look at it, I just saw that the premiums were extremely cheap. I would probably look at December, January, just because that you want to give yourself some time, right? So that's likely going to be my main focus. I will not be adding to Tilray. I will be scaling out of Tilray, right? Why would, I don't average up, right? This is what I wanted was, we're up 5-6% in pre-market. Fantastic, right? Like this is not a market to be greedy. I'm not going to add to my Tilray position. I'm going to be scaling out in chunks like I always do, right? So that's the plan for open this morning, guys. I will see you guys on Twitter and Discord later today. I will be popping in from time to time. I do have like a couple things planned later today, but the market closes earlier out here. I think we close at like 2 o'clock. So the morning has been hot. I'll be trading the morning. And then if I see anything A plus the rest of the day, I will let you guys know. But yeah, I will be tweeting obviously any updates on trades I'm in on Twitter and Discord today. And I hope you guys kill it. It's Monday. Let's have a strong week, guys. We are getting into the hottest time of the market. So I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you on Twitter and Discord. Be well, guys.